Hello YouTube and welcome to PokeGen. Today we'll be going through a list of cards that I'll be sending to PSA for the express service submission. What you see here are some 1997 Japanese Cardas cards, Japanese vintage as well as English vintage cards. I'll be doing some pre-grading on these cards and hopefully my prediction is correct. We'll look at the first card. This is the number 151 card, Japanese Mew, drawn by Ken Sugimori. The card on the front looks pristine. There's no whitening on the edges and corners, but we actually can see that the centering is actually not perfect. So there is a chance for a 10, but I'll give this a PSA 9. The second card that we'll be looking at is the number 150 Mewtwo. The artist is Ken Sugimori for the entire 1997 card set. Let's look at the card. So this card is actually pristine. The surface is immaculate. There's no scratches. The only thing is on the back, the factory cut is not perfect. You can actually see that there's some silvering on the edges, and I think this is actually the sticker surface. And there is some minor whitening, it's pretty small, as you can see over here. Due to the edges and the minor whitening, I would say this is a 9. The third card that we'll be looking at is the number 149 Dragonite. The surface is perfect, centering is very good as well. The back, however, has some whitening at the top edge. So because of this, I think this might be a PSA 9. The next card that we have is the number 25 Pikachu. The surface is perfect. Centering a little bit heavier towards the left, is leaning against the right, as you can see in this video. There is no whitening, but there is some silvering on the left edge. Again, this is actually the back of the sticker surface on the front. There is some shot for 10 for this, but due to the centering, I will give this probably a 9. Now we'll look at the number 6 Charizard card. The surface is perfect. As for the back, the corners are sharp, but there is some signs of aging of the card. As you can see, there's a bit of discoloration on the corners. It comes in the sort of something like a brown stain, and there's also a little bit of whitening on the left edge on the back. The centering is also not perfect, as you can see. It's leaning towards the right very heavily. So I intend to give this a PSA 9, but on hindsight it might be an 8. The worst it might get is a PSA 8 due to the two flaws that I've mentioned. Now we have the number 9 Blastoise. The surface is very good, no scratches. As for the back, I don't see any whitening on the edges and corners, but there is some silvering on the left edge on the back. Again, this is due to the factory cut. So because of this, I think maybe you might get a 9. The last of the 1997 Stardust cards that you'll be looking at is the number 3 Venusaur. The surface is perfect, no whitening on the edges and corners, and we do not see any silverings. Centering wise is leaning a little heavy towards the right. There is some chance of a 10 here, which is the same as the Pikachu that I have reviewed earlier. I will predict this as a PSA 10. This is the Japanese base set Charizard. It has the rarity symbol as you can see from here, so this is not the no rarity error card. Centering wise is leaning towards the bottom, so the top is a little bit heavy. The borders on the left and the right looks okay. There is no scratches or print lines that we can see on the hollow, and the corners and edges are sharp. So I'm thinking this is a PSA 9 for the centering alone. Next is the Charizard from CP6. This is a first edition Charizard card. Again, same like the Charizard from the Japanese base set, there is no scratches and no print lines on the hollow. The centering looks pretty well for this card. And there is no whitening on the edges or the corners. My prediction is there is a good shot that this will be a 10. Next, we will look at the Fire Red Leaf Green Blastoise EX. This card is well centered, but it is leaning a little bit to the right, as you can see from here. There is a little tiny scratch on the right border. Not sure if you can see on the camera. Only visible under strong lighting. So here. As for the back, that it has some signs of aging, but we do not see any whitening on the corners or edges. My prediction is due to the scratch, as I mentioned, there is a chance for a 10, but I'm thinking this is a PSA 9. The next card that we see here is the Team Rocket Dark Blastoise. This is from the Unlimited set. I think there's some scratches on the holo itself. The centering wise looks okay. As for the back, we do not see any whitenings. I'm predicting this to be a PSA 9. The next card is a Dark Blastoise, similar card to the previous one. Centering looks okay. I think there might be some scratches on the holo itself. As for the back, there is a little nick on the corner. The edges look fine though, so there are some signs of play on the back of the card. So I think this will be a PSA 8. The next card is a Shining Charizard from New Destiny. This card has a green arrow, a minor dot on the left border over here. As for the surface, there is one blemish right below the face of Charizard. As for the back, there is some minor whitening on the top edge. The rest of the borders look pretty fine. My guess is this might be a PSA 6 or 7. The main issue will be due to this blemish over here. The next card is the base Unlimited Charizard. So we can see that there are some scratches on the holo, and the silvering is pretty bad on this card. As for the back, the whitening is pretty significant. There is also a minor crease here. It's due to the warping of the card over time. My guess is this will be a PSA 5. Next is the similar Charizard from base set. There is some hairline scratches on the holo itself. Centering pretty decent, same as the previous card. There is one small silvering over here. It's on the border of the image itself. Right below the word Charizard, the D. As for the back, significant whitening over the top edge and the border. So you do see the whitening over the corners itself. There might be a small crease here. Again, this might be due to the warping. My prediction for this is this might be a PSA 6. The last two cards that we have here are the Shadowless base set Mewtwo. The first card over here has pretty good centering. There's no scratches on the holo itself. The edges are perfect, but there are two small whitening spots on the top and bottom corner. So because of this, I'm predicting this to be a PSA 9. We've come to the last card. There is no scratches on the holo, no print lines. Centering looks pretty good. Edges are perfect, and we don't see any whitenings on the corners. I would like to predict a 10 for this, but let's see. Well, let's be optimistic here. I think I'll give this a 10. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. Today is part 2 of the PSA grades review. What I have here today are not one, but 2 releases from PSA Express grading. We shall not wait further and let's see what grades we have. So, a little bit of spoiler, I've actually opened up the packs and I've seen the grades myself, but we shall see whether my predictions are correct. The first card we have here is the 151 Mew from the 1997 Cardas series. So we have a PSA 9, which is what as I was predicted. As you guys can see, the centering on the right actually is heavier than the left. It gives it the PSA 9 grade. I'll put it on the 9 out. The next card we have is the 150 Mewtwo from the 1997 Cardas series. We have a mid 9. So I believe my prediction was correct as well. There is some minor whitening on the card. The front looks pretty good. The next card is the 149 Dragonite from the Cardas series as well. We have a main 9. These cards are pretty hard to grade due to the aging effect. Some of them actually has whitening and a little bit of browning effect from the aging process, as you guys can see. Okay, we'll go on to the next card. The next card is the Pikachu from the 1997 Cardas series. We have a near mint to mint 8, so my prediction was wrong for this card actually. I believe I predicted a 10 for this, but I'm not sure what did I actually miss. I don't actually see any whitening. The centering on the back Perhaps it's a little heavier on the right, but the front looks pretty good. Yeah. The next card is the Charizard from the Kata series. We have a near main to main 8. My prediction was correct for this card. When I pre-graded it, there was some silvering on the left edge on the back and whitening spot over here, and as well as some parts on the top had some whitenings as well. The next card is the Blastoise. We got a mint 9, which was what I had predicted. I believe they have deducted points for the silvering on the back. Perhaps this could be due to the uneven factory cuts, as you guys can see over here. So there's some uneven cuts over here. Perhaps they have deducted points from this, I'm not sure. The next card is the Venusaur, and I think I got it wrong for this card. I believe I predicted a 10, but let's look at the back. I do not see any whitening. Again, I believe the points were deducted. Perhaps one is due to the centering, it's left heavy, and number 2, it could be due to the uneven factory cuts over here. This is the same as the Blastoise from earlier, but the Venusaur had slightly worse centering compared to the Blastoise. Perhaps this was the reason for the 8. Now the next card is the Japanese base Charizard. I got a min 9 for this and my prediction was correct. So when I first predicted the score for this, I mentioned that the centering is top heavy. So there's a lot more yellow on the top compared to the bottom. And actually there is one thing that I did not mention in my last video. As you guys can see, there is a print line between the wings of the Charizard. The back is pristine, however. There's no whitening on the four corners. So it's a pretty good score for this card. The next card is the CP6 Japanese Charizard, the 20th anniversary box. I got a min 9 for this. I think I got it wrong for the prediction. What I missed out was actually, I think it could be due to the centering. It's left heavier than the right and bottom heavier than the top. I don't think there's a print line for this. Yeah, so the only flaw that I see here is the centering, but I've seen some other cards getting 10s for this though. So I'm not sure. Maybe they've gotten stricter with their grading guidelines. The next card is the Blastoise EX from Fire Red Leaf Green. We have a min 9. So when I pre-graded this card, I remember I saw a tiny little scratch on the edges here. I'm not sure if you guys can see it. The other factor that I think it got docked to a 9 probably is due to the centering. It's left heavier than the right. Besides this, I do not see any other flaw on this card. It's a pretty good score. The next card we have is the Dark Blastoise from Team Rocket Unlimited. We have a min 9. I forgot about my predictions, so I have to rewatch my old videos for this. But I think it's a pretty good score for this card. It's well deserved as well. So we actually see some white spots on the corners. Maybe this was the reason it got dropped to the 9. I don't see any scratches on the hollow, which is a good sign. The next card we have is another Dark Blastoise from Team Rocket. We have a near mint 7 for this. Now I believe this got a 7 because there is the whitening spot on the corner here, and on the top corner over here. Now the next card here is the Neo Destiny Shining Charizard from Unlimited. So this is not the first edition Shining Charizard. We have a near mint to mint 8. So my prediction was wrong for this. I believe I pre-graded it as a 6 and they gave it at 8. So the reason why I pre-graded it as a 6 was because I actually spotted a mark on the surface, but I think they did not see that mark. The back has some whitening on the top edge, but besides that, the rest of the card looks to be in pretty good shape. There is some minor wear on the bottom corners. Now the next card is the base Unlimited Charizard. We have a excellent domain 6. I think I pre-graded it as a 5, but PSA gave me a 6 for this. So the silvering was pretty bad over the edge here, but after it was cased, I don't think you guys can actually see it. It's pretty hard to see it after it's been cased. The next flaw is there are multiple scratches on the hollow itself. So some on between the wings and on the flames. The back has whitening on all 4 corners, the edges. So I think 6 is a pretty fair grade. The next card we have here is another base Charizard. So this is a near mint 7. So some of the flaws of this card includes scratchings on the hollow. We have some vertical lines over here. On the back, some whitening on the corners, especially on the top right corner. And the bottom corner as well. Now this is the base Shadowless Mewtwo. We have a mint 9, so I got this right for my prediction. And let's see what's wrong with the card. Yeah, so as I had pre-graded it, I mentioned there were 2 white spots on the top and bottom corner, 1 and 2. So these 2 are the reason this got a 9, I believe. The last card is PSA 9 Mewtwo. So I think I got it wrong for this card. I initially pre-graded it as a 10. Let's see. So I believe the bottom centering is heavier than the top, so that's one part where they could deduct points for this. There's no scratches on the hollow. I don't see any scratches. Now let's look at the back. The only one flaw that I see here is the whitening on the bottom right. corner. I do not recall saying this when I sent it to PSA. Again, I need to review the footage which I had filmed before I sent this card over. And if this is the reason this got a 9, I have to check it out. But overall it's a pretty good grade, I think. Okay, I will now open the second box, which I did not pre-grade it in my last video. And of course you guys certainly want to check what's inside this bonus pack over here. I have sent this together with my first package that I've shared earlier. So this was my first package and this is my second package. Both of them came back approximately 2 weeks after I submitted them. So I've sent them on the last week of August, which is around 25th of August. PSA received my cards, and 2 weeks after, which is today, I got back the cards. This one is the Bandai starters from the Kada series. I've got a near mint to mint 8. Now this card is extremely tough to grade, again due to the fact that the card ages not that well and there's a bit of whitening spot over here. Sometimes this kind of cards can have yellowing or browning effect due to the age. And there is actually another flaw on this card, which is some blemish over here. But besides this, the front looks pretty clean. The centering is pretty well. I think it's because of these two flaws it got an 8. And we have another base Charizard. This one got a 7. The back is pretty okay, not much whitening except over here on the edge here. The top looks okay, the bottom corners look okay. So I believe this one get a 7 because of the multiple print lines. There's a lot of print lines on this Charizard. Multiple print lines, 1, 2, 3, 4. The next card is the Unlimited Blastoise. We have a mint 9. So the corners look pretty good. Perhaps there is a small whitening spot here. There's another whitening, and can't really see close up in the camera, but there is a very tiny little scratch over here. There's no scratch on the hollow, so yeah, if this got a 9, it's slightly disappointing. I was hoping for a 10 for this. Now we have the next card, which is another base Unlimited Blastoise. We have a near mint to mint 8. I don't see any scratches on the hollow. Centering wise, maybe a little bottom heavy. It's thicker over here. Let's look at the back. The top corners look okay. There's a little whitening spot over here. And now we look at the bottom. The bottom has 2 big whitening spots there. I think it's because of these 2 spots plus the centering. Perhaps this was the reason this got an 8. Now the last card is the base Ninetales. We have a mint 9. Again, I do not see any visible scratches on the hollow. Centering, maybe the top is heavier than the bottom, the left heavier than the right. Let's look at the back. The corners look okay. Now there is a whitening spot over here. The bottom is okay. So I believe this got a 9 because of the centering plus the whitening over here. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of the PSA grades review, and I'll share with you my thoughts on the entire PSA grading process. As you guys know, this is the first time I am grading cards with PSA, and what do I think of their service? So number one, for an express service of $200 per card, I think the delivery is pretty fast overall. I've sent this in about 2 weeks ago and I got it on today. So the entire grading process took me about 2 weeks, including shipping. Number two, regarding the accuracy of the grades. So generally, I believe that the grades overall are pretty good and consistent, but there are some stretching moments of the grades that I have received. For example, the Pikachu over here, I've actually predicted a 10, but I got an 8 for this. Again, I'm not sure why, so these are some of the things that I've mentioned that confuses the customers. Maybe I've missed some of the details over here. Again, I'm not sure, I'm not a professional grader. Number 3 is regarding the price of the cards grading. So as the recording of this video, I believe PSA grading for express service has dropped to $150 per card. So again, if you guys are thinking of submitting cards, maybe this might be a good time. In my previous video, actually I've shared that I have the entire series of the Cardas collection, but I did not send it over to PSA due to the cost of grading per card. Each one of them actually costs about $200. I have the entire set over here. The Legendary Birds, Eevee, Gyarados, Clefairy, Scyther. Again, I did not send this previously due to the cost of grading per card, and it is not cost effective overall. And the cards down here are actually not pack fresh. They were from binder collections for almost 20 years, and to get scores of 9, I believe is a pretty good return overall. That's all for the sharing of my review. I hope you guys enjoyed my video. If you have liked the video, do consider subscribing and give the thumbs up. And I'll see you in my next video. Peace out.